Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of News for You. This is episode 10. My name is Julian Baudouin. I am the executive director of the Hub South Dakota, and we are proud members of the South Dakota Dream Coalition, which is made up of immigrant facing and immigrant led organizations working in the space of immigration and refugee reform. Again, thank you for joining us for News for You. We are again excited here for the second week in a row to have a special guest with us. And before I let our guest introduce herself, I do want to go ahead and give you just some information, not just about News for You, but also maybe just some information on how you can interact and engage with us and also with the community. So first off, we of course rely on you and your support to keep this news broadcast going. So we ask that you follow us on all the social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, YouTube. You can follow us at the Hub South Dakota, News for You, South Dakota Voices for Peace, K-Pasa Sioux Falls, and also the South Dakota Dream Coalition. We do accept donations, and in order to receive those donations, we have set up a GoFundMe account for those donations to come in, and so you can find the link on both the Hub South Dakota's Facebook page and also the News for You page, and I believe South Dakota Voices for Peace has also put that on their Facebook page. If you have any questions, make sure you just send us a direct message, and we'll be happy to respond to that. All right, so in today's episode, we are going to go over some mental health basics. And so again, I am really excited to have a special guest with us for the second week in a row, Diana Cruz. How are you?
I'm good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, we are so excited to have you. Can you give us just an introduction of who you are, what you do, and then why you chose the profession that you're in?
So my name is Diana Cruz. I am originally from Brooklyn, New York, and I've lived in the community since 98, and I am very familiar with the Hispanic community. And I started in this profession actually by advice from many clients many years ago. And I was at the moment I was like, oh, I don't think I could, but I keep coming back to this, and this is my calling. I'm blessed to be able to be in this field and be a therapist working as far as recovery and so addiction and mental health therapist. So right now I'm currently going to school to get my master's in social work and my addiction license counselor. So
awesome.
We'll be doing dual right now.
Okay, awesome. Those are some really amazing spaces to be in, much needed, particularly in our communities and communities of color. So thank you for the work that you're doing. And again, I'm really excited to dig into some information. You are such a wealth of knowledge, and our communities can benefit from that. So we, just like last week, we went over some questions. We worked together throughout the week to make sure that we had some things ready and prepared for you. And so the first question that we have here is, what are some of the worries that you're seeing in your community regarding immigration, particularly when it comes to the political climate that we're in?
So a lot of the worries that I have been faced with, and I've been informed by not only business owners, but other professions, is that they are coming with being afraid or being scared, having a lot of anxiety regarding the political climate, what they're going to be able to do, what they can do as far as the homes that they own, who they would leave their children with or their possessions with in case something were to happen, unfortunately, if they were detained. So that's one of the biggest worries that is happening today now. I do want to clarify that it is something that has happened and has occurred and has been existing since immigration has occurred. A lot of Hispanic immigrants have that fear, who don't have that support as far as legalized paperwork or legal citizenship. Am I going to be deported one day? What will I do? What will happen to my family? So that is something that has been around for a very, very long time. But now with this political climate and everything that's been going on, it's a lot more serious and a lot more prevalent.
Yeah. So really, in all actuality, the political climate is inciting a fear that has truly already been there for a lot of years. And I think that just kind of maybe weighs in a little bit heavier on what we've been stressing in previous episodes with our power of attorney forums. And so at the end of this episode, we'll go back and we'll give you ways to, again, be more involved, be more engaged, but also get access to resources such as power of attorneys and also notaries to make sure you have that legal document that you were talking about. Again, like, this is a wealth of knowledge. We've been reiterating this piece of information every single episode, and we do it for a reason. It's because it is very, very important, and it is also one of the main concerns in the community. So kind of moving ahead, let's maybe jump into some of the misconceptions, particularly around mental health, that maybe you wish to address.
So a lot of the misconceptions within the Hispanic community or even the immigrant community is a lot more of the, we can do it alone. This is something we're building within our heads. You can pray for it. You can erase it, and that's how it's going to just diminish, or you can just work it out or try to forget it. But unfortunately, that is not the key, and that's not the clue to get treatment. It's about more how to manage the symptoms of anxiety and depression, the worries, the consistent struggles to get out of bed, which is more of depression. And it's more of actively working, taking care of your mental health. It's that spiritual, mental health, and physical health component, balancing it together so you can actually manage it and overcome it with time.
So how have you seen, and this is not a question on here, so sorry.
Yeah, it's absolutely fine.
But how have you seen maybe some things happening around politics lead to more mental illnesses in your community?
The scare tactics is one of the biggest ones. So already, as we are a society built with anxiety and depression. So on top of that, adding those scare tactics, we're worried, we're already causing more intimidation, hence increasing symptoms of staying up, not sleeping enough, having to worry about stuff that maybe happens in the future or reverting back to the past.
Yeah. So, I know in my community, in the Black community, sometimes we talk about stigmas surrounding mental health. And I do want to ask you, some questions around that as well.
Absolutely.
But for us, particularly in Black men, we don't like to really acknowledge sometimes that we're struggling with either mental health issues or even emotions. We try to put up this macho wall. Have you seen some of those same stigmas around your community, and if not, what are some of the other stigmas that you have seen?
Absolutely. So we have those similarities with a lot of people from people of color, is that we end up having that stigma where we're good. We can't show fear. We can't show pain. We are only allowed to show pride. And that can end up getting us in trouble and increasing a lot of mental health symptoms.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So symptoms, sometimes, as you said, can be not necessarily controlled, but they can be combated in a way, or they can be maybe negated to a certain extent. But sometimes if they can't, symptoms turn into diagnosis. What are some of the most common diagnoses that you've seen in the community?
So directly, you are going to see more of physical health symptoms, believe it or not, than that are going to be presented first than the mental health. So we see a lot of the trending of going to primary care doctors or appointments and talking about sleep hygiene or lack of sleep hygiene. We're talking about also hypertension, diabetes, GI issues, blood pressures, again, these are all physical health symptoms, but they're all actually tied up also in correlation with mental health.
So then what type of symptoms maybe physically can maybe a spouse or family member or child look for in their loved ones to say, maybe you're not saying anything, maybe you're not telling me that you're not getting enough sleep, or maybe you are having issues in the restroom and I don't know this, but what can I look for in my loved one to maybe see if something's happening?
So a lot of isolation is one of the biggest concerns. Isolation, lack of sleep is a big one, and irritability. Irritability, mood instability. So we're looking at different lows and highs when it comes to moods. That's what we would see as far as mental health and different symptoms.
So then let's say that is the case, and again, someone is very silent about their struggles. What advice can you give them to go out and actually seek help?
So if we're talking indirectly for just the individual, we want to even be able to start a conversation. Seek out assistance from maybe 211 or any mental health professional or physical or health professional that's gonna help you start having those conversations about, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing lack of sleep, I'm seeing irritability, I'm experiencing a lot of worrying and distress. So what can I do?
Yeah.
Where is it stemming from? And having those talks about referrals to different agencies.
Gotcha. Well, I certainly appreciate that. As I told you guys, it was a wealth of knowledge, and we have only a limited amount of time to be able to go through things, and I would hope that you would come back for another discussion. So thank you again for giving us that expertise.
Of course.
So I do want to come back to what I promised you guys and tell you some of the ways that you can be a little bit more active and engaged in the work that we're doing, as well as be able to access resources. Again, follow us on all of the social media platforms. We do rely on your support, not just with the follows on social media, but also we rely on your financial support as well. Ways to gain resources here in Sioux Falls, you can call Caminado Juntos at 605-274-3735 and make an appointment there to fill out a power of attorney. They also have folks who are notaries to provide a notary stamp. And then they also have folks at Caminado Juntos that will be able to provide a translation of languages from English to Spanish. You can also call South Dakota Voices for Peace at 605-782-9560. Schedule an appointment there. They are no longer having the walk-in hours on Monday evenings. I know we've talked about that before, to where they had those open hours over at the church. They are no longer doing that. So make sure you call that number to schedule an appointment. South Dakota Voices for Peace also has access to those English to Spanish translation services. And then last but not least, here in Sioux Falls, we have Angela Smith's Compass Tax and Accounting Services. They have POAs available, so the power of attorney is available. They also have Spanish-speaking staff and notaries on site as well. We ask that you call ahead of going there, not necessarily to set up an appointment, but they need to be aware that you're on your way. And then their number is 605-332-5255. Down in Yankton, South Dakota, if you live down in Yankton, please go ahead and send a message on Facebook to Connecting Cultures, and then they will converse with you and figure out how they can best assist you as well. We want to remind you that if you have a church or a big event or a family event, that we are more than welcome to come to you as well. So make sure you're reaching out to us, letting us know about those events. We will set up a table with the proper resources and the proper people there to be able to assist you. And for that, you can contact the South Dakota Voices for Peace or KPOTS Sioux Falls, and then they will be able to get back with you. So again, we thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of News for You. Follow us on all of the platforms. Please donate and also verbally spread the word that we are doing this. This is so impactful for so many communities to have this type of education. The News for You program is the only program in the state of South Dakota now offering immigration news in both English and Spanish. And so we rely on your support. We rely on your dedication, and we will catch you next time. Thank you for watching.